It's time for your daily dose of all things Chicago sports. This is the Daily Score. Now, here's your host, Mark Grote.
Well, even though we knew it was coming, the Justin Fields eventually being traded, I'm certain feeling all sorts of different ways upon the reality that is Justin Fields being traded to the Pittsburgh Steelers for a conditional sixth rounder in 2025. It could become a fourth round pick based on playing time for Fields, 51% of the snaps. But I guess I could start right there. I, of course, initially hearing the haul, air quotes, that the Bears got for Justin Fields, it's like, wow, man, that's what you get for all of that, for a guy that the Bears moved up in the first round to take 11th overall and the draft, the hope that this man represented, and you get a conditional sixth round pick for him. Yeah, that doesn't feel great, but honestly, upon sleeping on it, my feeling is I don't care at this point. They got something. We knew the market was not going to be strong based on all the other quarterbacks that had gone before them, many in backup slots, and maybe Ryan Poles thought that he could do better for Justin Fields and, find out who would like to use him as a starter. So it's not to be. But again, I don't care because you got something. The Bears now are about Caleb Williams, assuming that is the guy that they draft. And none of this really matters, the sixth round pick, if Caleb Williams is good. But really, the reason that I don't care, like my primary reason with that I'm just going to not make that a part of any sort of, disdain for this trade, that it's just not. And if you are, that's totally cool. I understand it. This move just needed to be made. So there was some relief, I think. It is at the point where I did not believe that Justin Fields and Caleb Williams could coexist. And if you follow me closely, you know that there was a time when I thought that they could and should be able to. But I realized from enough people that I talked to that it truly was an untenable situation. It's not just something people say for all the obvious reasons. So it had to get done now. So this organization could move on. So quite frankly, you, the fan base, can move on and accept and make your own opinions now going forward. Justin Fields needed this. He wanted to be a Bear. He liked Chicago, I think legit, but he wanted closure one way or the other, and he got it. This is good for him, too, in a lot of ways. It's Mark, a lot of relief. Yeah,
I will add one thing that as we're recording this podcast just crossed on X from Ian Rappaport. Important note on the Justin Fields trade. At least 4 additional teams inquired about trading for Fields, but Fields' representation asked for him not to be traded there. He wanted the Steelers, and the Bears did right by him.
Okay. It doesn't list from Ian Rappaport. It doesn't list the teams, does it? The teams
no, does not.
That were turned down.
No mention of the teams.
Yeah,
but just that there were 4 that inquired about him.
Okay, that did inquire about him. And Justin Fields. Okay, well, I guess that goes along with doing right by Justin Fields, right there. That there was some choice and that there was potentially some other options, and not knowing who those other teams specifically were, it's hard to tie them together and figure out, where could he have gone that maybe he could have been competing for a starting job? That's interesting. That is a interesting twist to the whole thing. And look, Ryan Poles also made it clear too, because there had been another report that they hadn't been shopping Justin Fields, but clearly they were shopping Justin Fields, and Ryan Poles said as much in his statement. As a matter of fact, I happen to have that statement in front of me, conveniently enough, so why don't I read that? I'm sorry to do this for those of you watching on YouTube. I'm fairly new to glasses, and I'm just in the reader stage of acceptance. and the readers I'm putting on right now are broken. So this has got to look just beautiful. Ryan Poles said this after the trade of Justin Fields. Quote, "We have engaged in multiple trade conversations in recent weeks and believe trading Justin at this time to Pittsburgh is what is best for both Justin and the Bears. We want to thank him for his tireless dedication, leadership, and all he poured into our franchise and community the last 3 years, and wish him the best towards a long and successful career." So I think that was about as well said as you possibly can. I think those are earnest words, and I do think that the Bears wish him the best. I think a lot of fans still wish him the best. And I can tell you from Justin Fields' statement that he did appreciate his time here. He said, quote, this is from Justin Fields, quote, "Can't say thank you enough to the city of Chicago for taking me in and embracing me. Thank you to the entire Bears organization and ownership for allowing me the opportunity to be part of such a historic franchise. But most of all, thank you to all of my brothers that I played with. You all were the reason I attacked each day the way I did. I can't thank you all enough for what y'all have meant to me over the last 3 years through the ups and downs. I wish each one of you nothing but success, ready for this next chapter." So I do appreciate the back and forth between the Bears. You know that Justin Fields is going to want to kick the Bears' asses now and prove the NFL wrong, and he's going to have that chip on his shoulder. That's going to be real, but it doesn't seem like it needs to get nasty between the two parties in no way, shape, or form. As far as exits go that we've seen with past Bears quarterbacks or Chicago sports athletes, I don't have to go through it. As far as they go, this seems like pretty good. Now, it doesn't mean that we won't learn stuff. It doesn't mean that Justin Fields won't give an opinion that is not flattering to the Bears somewhere down the road. That's possible, but it does feel like that, at least based on this exchange of positive words between the two parties, that this can be an amicable breakup, and that when Justin Fields inevitably in some way, shape, or form comes back to Soldier Field, I'm guessing that there will be nothing but a warm greeting for him. Because one of the big feelings that I had when I heard the news was sadness. I was sad to hear and see that Justin Fields was being traded because of what he represented, that there was a hope with Justin Fields, perhaps like no other quarterback in its franchise's history, just because this is somebody that played at a big-time college and played big-time at the big-time college. You know, he was a star at Ohio State as a passer, as a runner, in every way, shape, or form. So what that represented was, and not to mention the fact that you got a guy with a cannon for an arm and we could run a 4.3. So that's why he was so popular. That's what it represented. And it looked like you might have your guy. But it never came to be the way it was supposed to be. I don't know that Justin Fields is a finished product. The success was incremental, and unfortunately, incremental in the NFL at that position doesn't cut it. There wasn't the jump. There wasn't enough of the wow moments. Like let's go to the Washington game this year. One of the games that I scribbled down here when I thought about good things from Justin Fields. That was the 40-20 win over Washington. Yes, that was DJ Moore night. 230 yards and 3 touchdowns for DJ Moore, but Justin Fields found him. 4 touchdown passes, 0 turnovers. It felt like that was a moment against a good defensive line, which had Montez Sweat on it. It felt like that could be something. It really did. And there was lots of moments like that throughout Justin Fields' career. But this is one of the ones that I picked out. But then, similar to other positive moments that Justin Fields has had, they then go the other way. Because after that, and he couldn't help this, but I just felt it was so symbolic. The next game, that's where Justin Fields gets hurt. Tyson Bagent then, including that game in which he got hurt, is the quarterback for the next 5 games, derailing whatever momentum he had going from that game and positive games he had. So and then he comes back and it's up and down again and fizzled out in the Green Bay game. But I always think about that game as symbolic. I also think the other game too that came to my brain because the Bears traded this man to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Do you remember the November 9th, 2021 Bears game against the Pittsburgh Steelers? It ended up being a Pittsburgh Steelers win, 29-27 over the Bears. Thing of it is, Bears came back in this game, and it was because of, in a lot of ways, Justin Fields. Pittsburgh led the Bears 26-20 with 2:52 left in the game. Fields takes the Bears then 75 yards in 66 seconds, 7 plays. You remember this, capped off by that 16-yard touchdown pass to Darnell Mooney with $1:46 to go. This looked like a moment. It was something that we'd been look. Can this man bring you back in the fourth quarter? And there it was. But Ben Roethlisberger then takes the Steelers 52 yards, sets up a field goal to make it 29-27. Bears get the ball back. They stall after midfield. Cairo Santos eventually misses a 65-yarder. Bears lose the game. While there was hope coming out of that for there's still overall in that game, you felt good about Justin Fields, but still there wasn't, as it turned out, there wasn't the finish. And I know I'm grading it on a high scale right there because he did a lot in that game, but you just couldn't quite get there with Fields. And it was very, very frustrating. Couple more things here before we get out of here on the Daily Score today. You now have Caleb Williams to think about. And now it's part of what I was thinking about today when I was on the air on the Score was, oh, wow, it's now happening. It's real. We are one step away from it being real. And that's Ryan Poles actually selecting Caleb Williams in the first half with the very first pick. But it's so close to being real now that it's almost scary that it's set up at this point for the Bears to draft this man and lead them in a direction which has only been attained or accomplished a couple of times in their history, and that is some sustained success with a quarterback. And so that part could just be right around the corner. The other thing about Justin Fields too that I am astonished by, you think about what that man did in the 2022 season with, as some people say, that the most exciting season we've seen from a Bears player since Devin Hester, when he had those 1,143 rushing yards, many spectacular, explosive touchdown runs, that all of that happened, this superstar stuff, which because of had people saying, oh, this guy's good, throw in the passing game. This is an MVP. This is somebody that we should put money on for MVP next year. And not only did that not happen the next year, that season, it didn't matter. It never, all that stuff that he did, as it turned out, as impressive and unbelievably pleasing to watch as it was, it didn't matter to anybody evaluating the Chicago Bears and Justin Fields because of what we saw in the trade market. That, yes, the man has value. The man Justin Fields could very well end up being a starter in some way, shape, or form again. But it's pretty amazing that did not factor. Yes, it matters to some degree. Okay. A pinch, it's there. Yes, you know that this quarterback is elusive and he can run, and mobile quarterbacks are awesome because that helps against defenses in immense ways. But it didn't matter that much. And that blows me away. We could suspect that because everybody wanted more from Justin Fields and just being a runner, including Justin Fields. But that just to consider that in the end, the trade is made for a conditional 6th round pick to the Pittsburgh Steelers, where Justin Fields will begin his tenure with the Steelers as a backup quarterback. There's so much more to say about this, but we're going to leave it at that on today's edition of the Daily Score. I'm sure we'll continue to talk about it throughout the week, and you can listen to more Justin Fields talk on Chicago Sports Radio 670 The Score, and I will be on periodically throughout the week and hosting at times as well, and I'll try to keep you up to date on Twitter. You can see it right there if you're watching on YouTube. At Mark Grote Sports is the way to do that. For our executive producer, Ray Diaz, I am Mark Grote. This is the Daily Score.